But he needs to check himself before he wrecks himself right now a little bit and go, wait, I don't have all my mojo.
Ice Cube 93, I think that was.
Somewhere in there. I think
College
you're right.
for me,
Right.
maybe grade
Seventh,
school.
8th grade-ish.
Middle school for you.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, hip-hop historian?
That's
Paul
right.
Burmeister right here.
I don't know many
Man.
things.
Yes.
But like 80s and 90s,
Right.
like hip-hop, rap,
Yeah.
We should develop some kind of game here.
We could do that.
Yeah.
We could do
Might
that.
blow your mind a little bit.
Okay,
bit.
you might. It did. That blew my mind because
Yeah.
I don't think I would have came up with that one. And
Really?
Yeah. Johnny Oldtimer over here got it before me. All right, so I was disappointed by that. What's up, everybody? Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. The only way is through. How's everybody doing? You know what time it is. It's what the happened Wednesday. What were we talking about there, anyways? Check
You know
yourself.
what time
were
it
we
is.
talking
It's-
about Urban Meyer there? Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Hold on a sec. You know what time it is? It's Cool Mo D, mid-80s.
Oh, look at you. See,
Yeah.
So you're really old school. You are, yes.
I derailed the Urban Meyer there.
Okay.
By
When
going
did
back.
it go? So why we're on this? When did it
Yes.
go? When did you start to lose touch with the hip hop world?
I would say mid-90s.
like when they got to like Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. a little around there.
I know that era
Of
a little
course,
bit.
yeah,
but it
right.
was more the junior high, which we called it the Midwest, not middle school.
Right.
High school, college stretch.
Yes, right.
And then something happened when I got to be like 23, 24, just lost touch with it.
Yeah, no, I hear
Yeah.
you. It's easy to do. I mean, I lose touch. If it weren't for my kids now, I'd lose touch with a lot of
That's
things.
a way to be back into it.
It is. It
Yeah.
gets me back into it. I literally, like, sometimes with like Pandora and we got Sonos in the house, like
Yeah.
on a Friday night.
Where do you plug in?
Well, sometimes I'm like, hey, Philip, what's your favorite song right now? And then I put that in, and of course, it just plays a bunch of things similar. I'm like, damn, this is pretty
Yeah.
good.
Makes you feel kind of young.
It does. It
Yeah.
keeps you in the times.
Amidst
definitely.
all the injuries that we're both dealing with.
Yeah, so you're old.
Yeah.
Definitely old. Yeah, and I'm dealing with a hip problem
I know,
that's killing
I know.
me.
Yeah.
So
Playing hurt.
Yep, let's get into it. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Of course, we're going to break down some big plays. We're going to give a little look forward to each of these teams and kind of what to expect for the next week and their matchups. But I think we got some good stuff today and got some good plays that at least encompass the overall themes of some of the games and things we saw last weekend.
Yes.
And we'll see if it translates to the next week matchup and going forward. So let's do that.
We are learning how to use our first-round pick, the video.
Boom.
Can't
First
give him
round
like
pick.
65 carries each game. You
No.
gotta spread it out.
Spread it out. Yes.
15 to 18, 6 to 8 catches. So
Yes.
we'll actually be talking the games before we get into the video that kind of punctuates the main points you want to make with each game.
Right.
So how about we begin with the Cowboys?
Yeah, cool. Let's do that.
All this attention to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and
Yeah.
that was great. It was a wonderful game, but there were some super cool games and big-time themes going on Sunday throughout. So Cowboys beat the Panthers, and the number one term that comes to my mind, balance.
Yeah,
Balance
100%.
offensively like no other team seems to have right now.
I don't think any team is as balanced, as the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just going to sit here and look at teams in general, but at least not balanced to that capacity. That's the biggest thing. I mean, Dallas can literally impose their will on you with either or. Like, oh, okay, we're going to run the ball here. We don't care what defense you're going to play. Boom, we're going to run it. Okay, hey, we're going to throw the ball, and we're going to decide we're just going to go down the field that way. I think that's the impressive thing about the Dallas Cowboys. Certainly, I think you hit it like spot on. Other than that first game of the year against Tampa Bay, we've seen them run the ball pretty effectively on everybody. They pass protect pretty well, but that's what makes them dangerous. And then, again, that game I think is closer than what it looked at one point. It got away from Carolina in that football game altogether. Hey, put it this way. This is going to say it's 14-13. They drive down the first drive of the second half and miss a field goal. It was a long field goal. It was like 52, 54 yards, right? But either way, they could have gone up 17-13 there. They leave those points on the board. Dallas goes down and score, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's 20-14 Dallas. Carolina goes 3 and out. Dallas goes right down and scores again. So now it's 26-14, and then he throws an interception the next series, and they go down and score again. And I think that's what's scary about Dallas. They're kind of got one of those teams where I've said this already this week on like PFT. When they get a little mojo, they can start throwing up points as quick as anybody in the game. And ripping off a 40-yard run or ripping off a 30-yard pass, they're as good as there is in that category on the offensive side of the ball.
I'm glad you kind of brought up there in passing it a little bit that game one against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Because even though they moved the ball, I mean, Dak threw the ball 58 times.
Yeah.
The 3 games since that they've won,
Right.
Pollard and Elliott have had more rushing attempts than Dak has had passing attempts.
Yeah, that's impressive. And I think you just ride that until teams continue to
Until they figure it out.
Or at least until you get them to get out of some of these defenses right now. And I would say that's what Carolina did, where I think got them a little in trouble in this football game. They kind of tried to have the best of both worlds. Like, we're going to play a run defense, but like this guy responsible for this gap, we're going to make him also be responsible for something in the pass game. And like to explain that, like, all right, let's just say it's you and me, and I'm like a corner, and I got to play you as a tight end, right? Yeah. And okay, they got a 2 tight end set here. I'm playing you man to man as far as like in pass coverage, but then we're also going to ask you, hey, you got to be responsible for the D gap here in between the both tight ends. Okay, so what if the defense ends a little outside, right? And now you have to block outside to go get him.
It's too much
follow
already.
him out, right?
Yeah.
You don't know if it's going to be a wide receiver screen or something of that nature. To now, okay, I follow you out, but now I'm too late to get to the D gap in the run game. And I think that was a little bit of an issue for Carolina altogether in the football game too. So, yeah, to your point, Dallas is really damn good. I think their offensive line has found their mojo, and they're willing to do it either way. They're not going to, like, force it like, well, we want to throw and we want to get our receivers involved. Fine. You're going to play pass defenses. They're going to run the football. I was surprised with how they moved Carolina around up front a little bit because Carolina's been pretty much immovable to this point.
I know. I think they were the number 1 defense coming into that game. They certainly benefited from some of the quarterbacks that they played against.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott, let's take a look here,
Pete,
let's look at about some of the things he has done. First 2 games, okay, people wondering is, what are they really going to get out of Zeke at this point of his career? Last 2 games, he's averaging over 100 yards per game. I love the yards per attempt, over 6. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. And it brings us to the question, how was the Cowboys' run game so dominant against Carolina? Do you think it was Dallas being so powerful or Carolina doing something wrong as well?
No, I think it's Dallas being that powerful. I do. Yeah. I think Carolina messed up a few run fits here and there that certainly didn't help them out. But I came away with it more going, no, Dallas won the battle. I mean, they didn't crush them, but they won the battle for sure. There's 100% that. It's just a good balance of running the right plays into the right looks. They seem to always block and get people up bodies on bodies. And then I'm amazed. I want to give the guy a lot of credit, Ezekiel Elliott. I really do. I came into the year thinking it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I questioned even in training camp, like, oh, we're going to lose weight and become a little bit less muscular. And, my experience with those kind of guys is usually you lose your explosiveness. He hasn't. So he's not going to go 60-yard touchdowns like we used to see Zeke in like first and second year, but he's certainly capable of ripping off 20 and 30-yard runs. And then you got a guy like Tony Pollard who, as soon as he sees the hole, he just puts his foot in the ground and runs like his hair's on fire. And they are a very good complement to each other that way.
Yeah, they combine 30 carries for 210 yards. Anytime your backs are over 200 yards,
right,
and they're averaging 7 yards per carry between them, that is an unbelievable game on the ground. 47-yard touchdown run was really, I think, his defining moment.
Yeah.
Take a peek at that up here.
Let's check that out. And I don't think he scored a touchdown here, did he? But he got down that close. Yeah, he got down close. That's okay. Paul's allowed to misspeak, and he's allowed to do that. So let's check this out. First off, let's just sit here and admire the formation, right? Admiring the formation. You got 2 tight ends to the right. Of course, they got a lot of big bodies up front in Ezekiel Elliott. They bring Amari Cooper down in the box to help block maybe the safety or the extra guy in the box. And then within doing that, this is a little bit what I'm talking about here. The right corner you see over there, Rashaan Melvin, is going to end up being responsible for the gap between the 2 tight ends we see to the right. And with that, that's a no-no. That's what Dallas wants. Dallas wants Ezekiel Elliott one-on-one versus Rashaan Melvin. They're going, wait, he's either going to run him over. It's a corner. He's not a great tackler, nor does he want to do that. And, of course, since he has some man-to-man responsibilities and he came down with Amari Cooper, his eyes are first on that. He's got to protect, what if Dak Prescott keeps the ball and it's play action and Amari Cooper comes off and gives it like, I'm going to block, and then all of a sudden he runs a deep cross, right? So that was a little bit of the issue of the game. But here we go. I'm going to stand up. Simple play. Really, this is one of my, you call this 34 double, 34 gap, whatever you want to call it in the NFL, all right? But basically what they're trying to do is get doubles across the board. And I hope I don't mess this up, but I think I'm going to get this right, all right? So left guard, because they don't like where this is at right here, so they're going to give themselves a little bit better angle to double team. The left guard's actually going to kick out and take this defensive end. Tyron Smith's going to come down here with the center, and they're going to work to this linebacker here, all right? Then you got these two right here, right guard, right tackle. They're going to double team here, work up to this linebacker. One of them, it depends, these are things, again, this is being well coached in the run game. We're going to double team, and we got to kind of figure out on the fly on the double team who's got the angle and now has to come off to get that second level guy, all right? And then you're going to have, I believe, the double team for the two tight ends who are going to then work up to, Jeremy Chin, the freak safety they got from Carolina, and then Amari Cooper. So let me see if I think I did that right. I'm doing off that off the top of my head, but let's just check this out here. Okay, yeah, so I'm right. And you see Amari Cooper here. This is A.J. Bouye, all right, who they got like 3 corners in the game here. Or no, they got 2 corners. I'm right. They got the corners kicked over. But you see A.J. Bouye here. Amari Cooper is going to go get him. But as you see right here, now just look at it, the way it looks here. I mean, it's body on body. There's not a free body on the field right now other than deep safety and Jeremy Chin, who we looked at here, who now has the 2 tight ends who are coming at him, and one is going to be able to fall off. And then you got Rashaan Melvin, like I said here, in the D gap or E gap, and that's what this play is for. It's basically, hey, let's get off the ball. Let's come downhill. Ezekiel Elliott's got very good vision. Let's let him just kind of pick a strong side hole and make the right cut, and let's see if he can make something happen. No, he ends up not really going through here. He's trying to ride it upfield, right? He sees a little gap here, but this is where Zeke's pretty special when he's playing good. He can, he's a pretty good jump cutter, as you can see right there. Very controlled, right? I mean, just jump cut to the right, jump cut to the left.
Vision,
right? Right here, he's going, wait, like, I got a body on a body here on Jeremy Chin, and Rashaan Melvin, even though I know I can run him over, why mess with him? Why? So then from that, you're going to see he's going to, let me clear it, he's going to pick the right hole. And, I mean, it's easy pickings there.
There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
I mean, he's going to shoot up right there, and he's going to break out. And, that's where Dallas is dangerous. They got a little bit of everything in the run game, and it's pretty damn good that way. I just want to rewind one thing just to make sure I got this right, but I think I did. Okay, good. We're good. But that, to me, was one of the themes of the game, more or less, was their ability to get bodies on bodies. And like I said, caught Carolina maybe trying to defend both instead of just saying, hey, Carolina, next time you play them, you got to kind of pick one or the other.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you might get beat every now and then, but it's better to get beat that way than, to me, to get kind of like half a nothing and beat both ways, run game and pass game, and they kind of had their pickings. So I'm sure they'll reassess that game plan if they ever see them again in the playoffs.
He's sitting here watching. First of all, kudos to the offensive line. I mean, that was really, really well blocked.
Really well blocked.
You pointed out the scheme and the plan, but they did it really well. And this term that comes up a lot in training camp, we wonder about a team and what's their identity going to be? What are the Cowboys going to be?
Right.
And I think with Kellen Moore leading the way offensively, they have really developed something there where Pollard and Elliott, these last 3 wins, they have combined carries 28, 29, and 30. So we have this formula. If things are going well, if we're not way behind or way up, this is how we're going to play. Dak's throwing it in the mid-20s. So this is working. They're not reaching and grabbing for something different every game.
No.
They've got a formula of who they want to be,
right,
and the numbers say it's going pretty well.
Yeah, and if they got to adjust and you play a team like Tampa who nobody can run against, and again, I think that was week 1, 2, so they're a little scared of that.
Exactly, yeah.
Then they can go to that. But I think you're exactly right. And I think more or less, hey, it's going to be a theme a little bit of what we talk about with a few teams here. You got to take what the defense gives you a little bit.
There you go.
And if defenses are going to continue to play like we're worried about CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson and company, then you got to run the football. And they have the people up front to run the football. And to me, that's when you're not wasting your resources. You're taking advantage of everything you have on your roster on that side of the ball. And then your schemes, of course, are taking advantage of it as well. And that's when you become, to me, one of the more dangerous offenses in football.
And that's when your quarterback the last 2 games can be over 70%, 7 touchdowns and no picks.
Well,
too.
Exactly right.
Right?
Yes. I mean, he's amazing. He's definitely one of the best pocket passers in football. He's one of the best down-the-field throwers in football, like he's been for the last 3 years of his career, even when a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans were hating on him. But, yeah, that's where he's awesome. And he has no he has no ego either. That's what I love about Dak Prescott. He's not checking them out a run game to go, well, I got to throw it here. Let me run my RPO and throw and completion percentage and get more stats. So they're dangerous, Dallas. You add that efficient offense to a defense who is definitely playing better football. It's not super talented, but Dan Quinn is way more multiple on the defensive side of the ball. You can't just pin him to Seattle's scheme every time. And he's got them believing and flying around to where, they're not going to die slow deaths, which I like. When you have an elite offense, you've heard this before. Don't die slow deaths. We don't need Dak Prescott and everybody on this sideline for 10 minutes while the other team slowly goes down the field.
Right.
So they make it happen in a lot of ways, and they're creating turnovers, which is giving them an advantage, a possession or two every game. And with this offense, that's going to win them a lot of football games.
They were awful last year defensively. And just to go to being decent where you're talking about them, hey, they're not great, but they're pretty good.
Exactly right.
It's a massive step in the right direction.
Definitely.
I want to hit Carolina just a little bit before we move on.
Yep.
At Crawlshots asks, after their loss to the Cowboys, are you concerned for the Panthers moving forward to be a real contender?
No, I'm not. I'm not concerned. I really not. I think Carolina has it all. I would be shocked. If they fell off planet Earth. I really would be. I think they're going to be in the thick of this playoff conversation all year long. I don't even think they're playing their best football yet. I really don't. You got to remember here, we still got a Sam Darnold who's still learning the offense. No McCaffrey. Exactly right. They lost some people on defense last week. So they weren't at full strength either. If they come around and see this team in January, their offense will be different. Sam Darnold will be different. Sam Darnold, he played well in this game. He had the 2 interceptions, yes, and that stinks, and he's going to want that back. But in every game so far, he's left some yards and some completions on the field. They've won those games. It doesn't matter, but I do think that he'll get more and more comfortable and become better and better throwing the football for them.
Week 5, the Cowboys will host the Giants. We'll talk Giants in a little bit. Week 5, the Panthers play at the Eagles. Let's move out to the NFC West.
Yeah.
Seahawks, they knock off San Francisco 28-21 in a game that you watch. It was a different kind of a choppy kind of game. You look at the stats. San Francisco won every category except turnovers.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Russell Wilson.
Well, exactly.
And that was the difference.
Well, we played your clip.
We have Russ and you
don't. We played your clip on PFT today.
Oh, okay.
We did. And you said it right. I mean, you said it a lot of ways. That's the beauty of Seattle. I've never seen a team actually get their ass whooped the way they got their ass whooped, and they were up 21-7.
Yeah.
I was like, what? But, yes, they rely on the big play, create a turnover, and there they are, like, okay, yeah, you're going to let Russell Wilson and company hang around. I think you summed it up perfectly. Like, you let him hang around. He's going to make 3 or 4 plays that are going to be the best plays of the day.
Right.
And it's going to result in Seahawks points. And that's basically what it is. That's where, like, yards and statistics can sometimes be overrated.
Exactly.
Because he had 3 or 4 unbelievable explosive plays that changed the football game. And that's why they won the football game. Let alone it's the same old story like the 49. Not the same old story just with any offense. And when you don't take advantage of when you're dominating the football game, and you look up and go, man, we have absolutely slaughtered them and we're only up 7-0. That's when you're setting yourself up for a crushing loss, and that's what happened to the San Francisco 49ers.
One of the main stories about the Seahawks in the offseason, once we all got past the Russell Wilson drama and how they might look schematically with their new offensive coordinator, at Mehmet305 with this question, can you see a difference in Seattle offensively and their approach under Shane Waldron, the new offensive coordinator?
Yes, I do. I think it's better. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think it's like, oh my gosh, wow, they're just a totally different offense. I would still like to see them open it up more. I don't know if it's Pete Carroll's influence that, is still kind of making them be conservative. But, they have enough weapons and things to have a little bit more of the drop-back pass game we see the Rams have, to tinker with that. Now, I don't know if Shane Waldron, maybe he's not that guy. Maybe, again, there's a reason Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. But, they have – to me, it's still the Rams' Jared Goff offense, just with a little bit more of a downfield play action threat because you go, well, we got Russell Wilson and he's another guy like Dak Prescott. You go, maybe he's the best deep ball thrower in football, and that's the big thing. But they're not a super talented offensive line. It's a good O-line. It's not great. It's middle of the road NFL. Their running backs are good, but it's not great. And I certainly respect Chris Carson and company. He runs hard. But he's not the kind of guy that's like, Todd Gurley back with the Rams where you go, oh, you give him a seam, watch out, it's going to be 50-yard touchdown. So, yeah, good offense, but I'm not, like, super impressed. To me, there's not enough meat and potatoes of the offense. What there is every week is a few splash plays that are cool, and Russell takes advantage of those. But, like, how many splash plays, how many game plan plays can you come up to it that are just going to the defense over? There's only so many you can come with. And they find a way to get 3 or 4 every week. But, okay, when they run out, it's like, all right, so what's the rest of the offense?
Yeah.
Because you don't run the ball consistently good enough to just go, oh, you'll run the ball and keep the bootleg play-action pass going all game long here.
Yeah, it's not an easy 2-2 for Seattle. It's a lot on Russell Wilson. He probably feels like he's played 15 games instead of 4 at this point. All right, San Francisco also gave us a lot to talk about offensively. Yep. Jimmy G goes out. Trey Lance comes in. AAD M27 says, hey, Chris and Paul, love the pod. How was Deebo Samuel so wide open? We're going to take a peek at it. I feel like every week we have a few plays where someone is so open on Sunday. I can't wait to get here on Wednesday and see exactly how it happened.
Yeah, well, Shanahan's a master, all right? And, one of my things, of course we know the 49ers can run the football. I wish this one thing. I wish the 49ers would throw the ball outside the numbers more. Does every throw have to be down the middle and to a crowd of people? It
really stands out. Is that because Kyle loves it or because Jimmy can't get it out
I think it's probably a little bit of both, but I think it's more because Kyle loves it. That would be my assessment.
I mean, when Jimmy G's really rolling, it looks pretty. He does it very well.
No doubt. He can get it out of his hand quick and make the right decision. But to me, when you're living over the middle all game long, you're going to live dangerously. And that's what kind of happened to them. It's 7-0.
Yeah.
He's got some people open, and all of a sudden he tries to force a ball down the middle to Kittle, and Quandre Diggs is going, wait, I've watched film all week. You guys love to throw over the middle. I'm waiting to jump something like this.
Right.
And that's dangerous. And my 2 cents to Kyle would be like, hey, if Trey Lance has to play this week, make life a little easier on him. Make him throw. It's easier to read the defense. There's less danger that can happen throwing the ball outside if you trust the guy that he can hit the target and make the right play, which is definitely a little bit of an if with Trey Lance right now.
Right, so let's set up the play. Yeah, third quarter,
Yep.
Late in the third quarter, you can see it right there, 21-7, Seattle's up after Russell Wilson had the great touchdown run. He had the great touchdown pass, so now they're down 14 on 1st and 10.
Yeah, down 14, 1st and 10. 49ers, master of play-action pass. I mean, Shanahan's the reason almost everybody in football is doing play-action pass, because everybody's like, man, what's the best offense in football? The 49ers. Why? Because they have 9 million ways to screw you over in the play-action pass down the middle of the field, like we've talked about. So they're going to run the play-action pass, and they're going to take advantage of, like, a newcomer to the Seattle scheme a little bit. Sidney Jones down here, the corner, number 23. They're playing zone coverage, all right? This is zone all the way. You got Jamal Adams over Deebo Samuel, right? The other corner up top, number 2, he's up there. You know it's zone right from the alignment. There we go. So, bam. And so let's break it down. And really, what you're going to see here is not like an overly complicated concept. It's going to be Brandon Ayuk, 15-yard in cut, Deebo Samuel, wheel route up the sideline, and what they're basically testing is that will the corner be disciplined enough to stay in his third?
Where's the 11th guy, too, by the way? There's one
guy
the
11th guy he's way back here. Diggs is back here. So it's a single safety defense. You got, I think this is Reed, the other corner up here. You got 3 linebackers in the game. Seattle's always, for the most part, going to play 5 people in the line of scrimmage. Almost always. Every play. They're still old school where, like, you're not going to run on us no matter what. And you're going to see here, we get a little play-action pass, weak side play-action pass, right? So, and it's no run action, right? So it's total just slide protection. Use check is down here, over here. He fakes away. I mean, we'll see what this comes. Maybe they have something off of this next week. But they're just trying to suck up the second level of guys here and work a little basic 2-man route like we talked about to the weak side. And he comes out of the fake. He looks at his in-cut for a second. And then I think he realizes, and I'm sure this was a talking point all week for Shanahan, all you got to do is read the corner. If you see the corner, read the in-cut. If the corner's by him, the wheel route's going to be there. Because, again, here, what we need to show is, like, this is Jamal Adams. He's got no responsibility there. He's curl flat guy. He's kind of just going to go out here, and, okay, he's going to peek behind him. And if he sees somebody go inside, he'll try to fall off inside and just be in the way, right? So it's not Jamal Adams' fault. And you see here, look, he kind of peeks at it. Look, he's telling him right now, like, look, look at Jamal Adams here. He's pointing. He's kind of trying to tell the corner, like, watch out, the guy's going deep. Like, it's back to your area. You know, and you see Quandre Diggs over here. I think this is Diggs. Maybe he's in a little deeper. Let me see. I just want to make sure that is him. No, that's the linebacker. All right, but so you're going to have to trust me, is that Diggs is back here, and he's ready for the in cut. Like, it's a zone coverage. He's getting ready for the guy coming into his area. But as you'll see here in a second, it ends up being like the most wide open touchdown pass you'll ever see.
Like basically 3 guys in a 2-yard area in the middle of the field there. Just back it up a little bit.
Let me go a little faster.
There we go, on the 40. So at least one of them probably shouldn't have been there. So if you want to pause it.
Yeah. So what are you talking about right here?
Keep going. Play it. Ball's in midair. Go ahead and stop it.
Yeah.
You can see there on the.
Right. There's 2 guys here. There's Diggs. Diggs is ready for the in cut.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you know, Diggs is ready for the in cut. The problem is Sidney Jones should be down here. But he took the bait and followed it in. And, you know, there are some rules like that within the Seattle scheme where sometimes, you match people, but you got to know when it's like, okay, I've matched you, and now it's time to pass off and go back to my area. And that's where they get burned. And I think we got another angle of this, right? Let's see the other angle. Go through it. All right, here we go. This is good here, right here. So this really shows it.
Yep.
There's a little drawing on there from the telecast. I didn't draw that. I don't draw that nicely. All right? But here's the point. Again, it's a zone coverage. Look, you see our man Brooks. He's back over here looking to just get in the way in the middle. There's Jamal Adams curl flat. And he'll read the eyes if something comes here. But Diggs is back here. And he's reading this whole thing. He's just waiting for somebody to come into here because he knows he'll go. And if Sidney Jones stays out here, this shouldn't be anything. It really shouldn't be. They are in the proper defense. But there you go. You see Sidney Jones. He's out of there, and it's the easiest touchdown Trey Lance will ever have in his life.
All right, more on Trey Lance here. We have a couple questions here, Chris. Quinn Allo asks, you've hit on it several times, but with Jimmy G still turning the ball over and not bringing the same running aspect that Trey does, when Jimmy is healthy, should he be the starter, or will Trey's running ability in the Shanahan offense be undeniable for him to remain the starter?
There's definitely more big play opportunities with Trey Lance, a quarterback, because he's going to make defenses do some things they don't want to. All right? But, you know, I don't have the answer here. This, to me, is all about, is Trey Lance in the trust tree with Shanahan? Does he trust him to run the rest of the offense and take care of the football? That game there, I mean, I would say that's not going to give him a whole lot of confidence with some of the decisions and throws he made. It was still a good start, but that to me is the million-dollar question. And I don't have an inside look there or any inside info to give anybody here to necessarily know that. You know,
it looks to me like Jimmy G runs that offense most of the time in the B range, which is pretty darn good.
Exactly right.
And is Trey Lance, even though he's going to run it better, is he going to execute the passing offense close to what Jimmy G does?
No, he's not.
Probably not.
No. I would be shocked. I mean, I have to see that to believe it first. You know, you're exactly right. So then it goes back to, like, it's the meat and potatoes part of the offense. Shanahan can only dial up so many plays that are going to screw over the defense.
Yeah.
So can he do, okay, now I've used all my tricks and they've changed the way they're playing us because they realized I've got them down and we're going to screw them over. So now can we get back to our offense and execute it the right way? You know, that's a big if. I don't know. I haven't seen anything from Trey Lance to think that yet. And you know, but at the same time, you know, that what stinks for them right now, like there was a handful of runs in that game. Trey Sermon played pretty good. 19 runs for 89 yards. But there was like 3 or 4 runs where I go, man, if they had Mostert healthy or a Wilson type of back, you know, Jeff Wilson, what the hell was his name? Or even like, or even maybe an Eli Mitchell, but not to their capacity to where I go, man, a few of the runs he game planned in this game, they would have been 60-yard touchdowns.
Yeah.
But instead they were like 15-yard gains. So he's really missing that home run hitter at the running back position. That kills him, but we'll see. You know.
And they also had more, I mentioned, more turnovers and more penalties.
Yes.
Both of them.
They can't create turnovers right now, the 49ers on defense. As awesome as they are. I mean, they are, but that's one thing people are looking at. They're going, I mean, of course, when you play 49ers, everybody goes, this defense is awesome.
They didn't create a single one.
No, they've had issues creating turnovers all year so far, other than that first game against Detroit. So that's been an issue for them. That's kind of lets them down a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes, though, because, Trey Lance is a space thrower. He's out of all the rookie quarterbacks, nobody needs more room in the pocket. Nobody has a more long, deliberate motion than Trey Lance. Nobody. And if anybody go back and watch the game, look how many times the Seahawks get hands on the ball around the line of scrimmage, because it's like he's pitching from the pitcher mound with the windup. I mean, his right arm touches the ground sometimes. He lets it go so long. It's like you can literally, if you're a linebacker or a defensive line, you got eyes in the back of you going, okay, here comes the windup and the pitch.
There it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally like that. And that's what concerns me about him. And I got to see more before I can really, tell exactly what he is. Got incredible arm strength.
Yep.
But it's just he can miss the broadside of the barn sometimes.
The West divisions have been very good. NFC West, AFC West, the only ones where no team has a losing record. So let's take one peek at what's coming up this next week. Niners at the Cardinals.
Ooh.
Nobody's slowing down Kyler yet.
No.
Cardinals just handled a high-powered Rams offense. How do you think Lance and Shanny attack them?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's still a chance, right? They're saying Garoppolo could play. I mean, we don't know. Like, Vance Joseph showed a propensity last year, like that word, to understand how to defend the Shanahan run game a little bit, and all the pre-snaps motions and movements, just in understanding, like, okay, if they got this guy going this way and now they shift the tight end, we got to move the defense over, and he understood how to get everybody in the right gap so Shanahan couldn't him over with some Shanahan run special. And then I think when you add in, again, they're a team that I would be shocked. I mean, they seem like they're built to stop a running quarterback. With the freaks they got at the second level and the athletes they got in the front seven, I just would be shocked if, if Trey Lance does play, that the quarterback run game just goes crazy. I would be shocked. I really would. The defensive side of the ball, that's going to be an interesting matchup. It is, because of the Cardinals compromise you with the weapons outside, and their O-line is better than any year in a while.
And Kyler's taken a significant step forward.
100%. 100%.
The whole thing is that.
Dicing people up in the pocket, showing patience. Cliff Kingsbury showed patience, a little bit like what I said on the Monday podcast. Like, their O-line's good enough now to where you could go, no, we're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
We're going to run the ball a little bit. You're not just going to play us for our spread pass stuff. You're going to have to come in here and condense your defense a little bit. And then now we got matchups we got like on the outside. Now we can throw our wide receiver screens and start to pick you apart 7-8 yards at a time. And that's what I'm interested to see, because the 49ers are not a man football team. They don't want to play man. And if they do, they're not going to be able to match up against this Cardinals offense.
All right, Kansas City, Philadelphia. Kansas City 42 and the Eagles 30. A lot of points scored there, obviously. I think the main point that we want to get to here and hit on, Chris, Chiefs offense looked to be back in their groove. What was different this week compared to last?
Well, like we talked about Dallas. We just talked about Arizona a little bit. Like, take it what the defense gives you. Oh, the safeties are 45 yards back. Let's not try to throw a 45-yard pass. Let's run the ball. Let's do something to bring them up. The best running game I've ever seen them have, like in the Andy Reid era.
Back-to-back games, Edwards-Helaire over 100.
It's awesome.
2 in a row.
And then a handful of other runs with McCole Hardman, Damian Williams, or Darrell Williams, excuse me. Yeah, right. So that became a real thing. And, like, again, if you're going to pay that offensive line all that money and have all those studs, use them. There's nobody's going to be able to stand up against that Chiefs offensive line if they run the ball. So I think that would be the first thing I would look at. They can blow people off the ball and move you. And then I think the other thing is this. I mean, Mahomes stayed patient. He stayed true to the offense. He stayed in the pocket. He stopped floating around like it was like last year where he was getting no pass protection and he had to float and move around. This whole game, for the most part, he stayed in there and went through reads, stayed true to progressions, and made a lot of awesome throws and got back to being like the Patrick Mahomes we know and love. And I think that's the biggest thing altogether. So that was good to see on the offensive side of the ball.
Anytime Mahomes or any quarterback, 5 touchdowns, one more incompletion than touchdown passes. I mean, stop and think about that. Doesn't happen
insane.
very often.
Right.
Pretty awesome.
Yes.
Tyreek Hill was back to being Tyreek Hill. 11 catches, 186. I think the first play we want to look at here is the one where he got open late that kind of ended up being the dagger.
Right. So I want to do this real quick and just show you. We showed this last week. Remember that?
You're bundling plays.
I'm bundling this one to go like I think our guy learned a little bit. All right. So we showed this play last week, right? And I'm going to stand up again. I mean, it was play action pass, corner, post, deep cross, right there, right? It's 1 to 2. 2, that's an ugly 2, to whoever your check downs are, okay? Whatever, it doesn't matter. But, I mean, as we kind of tried to explain last week, this play was wide open. Touchdown, they left points on the board here because a few plays later is when I think Tyreek Hill fumbled over the middle. But that's why you can't leave plays on the field. You know, and again, where's he going?
He doesn't
the
need to
pocket's
step up there.
perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Stay there. And where are you looking? Like where? So that's to me where Patrick Mahomes has not played his best football through the first few weeks, and he got back to that in this next game. So let's go back and let's go to the next play here and get to a little different formation. I got it. I got the formation. It's still the same concept, and it's still the same thought. They're going to run a little play action fake, right? And you're going to have, instead of the 2 wide receivers this time, it's 11 personnel. So it's 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end. And you got McCole Hardman out here who's just going to run a little hitch route. And you're going to see Tyreek's going to come off, bend him out, go to the post. And then on the backside is Demarcus Robinson. And it's the same read. It's 1 to 2. And then to 3 over here if you want, or whoever. Kelsey out of the back, if he checks down the back, whatever. I don't even know who the check down is. I didn't even look. I just go into the meat and potatoes of this thing here. So here we go. Let's look at it. You could see right away from the get-go, right? I mean, they got the look. They got everything they want here. It's perfect. And here's the other point we got to make. See, they're getting gashed in the run game. So now they're starting to go, wait, we can't continue just to die this way. We got to move up a little bit. We got to be a little bit more aggressive. So they're blitzing. And you got him, trying to match Kelsey over here. So within that, and then here we go. We'll let it play. You see, so
as soon as that safety comes down to get Kelsey,
exactly right.
Patrick knows right now
that he's got
middle of the field.
He's got middle of the field open
right now,
and he should throw it 100%. I mean, look at all the people at the line of scrimmage. You got 5, and then they're going to bring. So they bring 6, and then you got 2 guys in the middle of the field here, and he reads it true to form. Does the typical let me just stay in the pocket and backpedal a little bit, throws off his back foot. But I just thought that was like a good play that kind of exemplified the 2 things. One, he read the play out the right way, didn't predetermine and go like, oh, wait, this doesn't look like I'm going to get the shot I want.
Right.
And then 2, it showed you that, again. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Take it back to the beginning.
Yep.
Finish what you're saying. I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're good. And then again, just the fact of you got to do some stuff to bring defenses up. And between running the ball, him being patient with the short passing game, and a few screens to receivers and things of that nature, Philly couldn't play. Philly was playing early on. It was like, whoa, we're back here, and you're not going to get it. And they just kept going, fine, here's Edwards-Helaire. And this group right here on Philly's D, they're for real. But this group right here is more for real.
Yeah.
They're more for real. And they're stupid if they don't take advantage of the best run blocking left guard in football, one of the best run blocking tackles in football in Orlando Brown. And hopefully that's something they continue to do because it's going to help their team out.
Leave it pause right here for a moment. And I want to set up this question.
Cool.
And I know it's 3rd down. I know it's late in the game. I know they're trailing. But look at what they're doing. By giving up the 1 safety to come down and cover Kelsey, the tight end.
Right.
They have a corner or a safety 14 yards off a Hill who's in a slot. So he can go either way. And this is Tyreek Hill with a 14-yard soft corner playing him one-on-one.
Right.
So that comes to the question from @thatguyoliver. Why do teams continue the trend of treating Tyreek Hill just like any other receiver?
Because I don't know why. First off, it's crazy in certain situations. I don't get that. I think also what teams have come to is going, wait, we kind of know the routes they're going to run, and we always know where he's going to end up being. And because of that, they go, we'll take our chances. We kind of got a feel for Andy Reid in the pass and Eric Bieniemy in the pass offense that way. You know, I think that's what it is. I wish I could tell you. To me, listen, the really good defenses in football would not do this very often.
Yeah.
Because he's still the most dangerous wide receiver in football. And, you know, and again, I know this is third down. I meant to say this from the beginning. But, you know, they're protecting against like, hey, we're down right here, and they've gashed us with some weak side bubble runs here, and we don't want to let them get a 15-yard or a 10-yard run and get closer into field goal territory. So everything they've done in the game already has set them up for this prime example. And that's why I think Andy Reid goes, well, it's third down, but they might think we're just going to try to get some yards. We've been running the ball so we can get in field goal territory. So let's fake the run. And they fake the run to the weak side where they have absolutely obliterated the Eagles to this point on the weak side bubble runs. And when I say bubble, for anybody that's wondering, I'll just stand up. The bubble is this right here. See, the guard's got nobody on him. It's the bubble. It's a shade nose and then a defense end. So there's a bubble here, and they all game long just absolutely abused it right through there. And that forced the Eagles to have to do something they don't want to do. But I don't understand that either. I don't. But also, Philly's a little bit of that like Cleveland Browns scheme that we saw in week 1. They're a little bit like, this is what we do. It is a little bit Seattle schemish at its heart with their defensive coordinator. Oh man, I'm blanking on Gannon, right? Who came from the Colts, and Eberflus, who runs that system. But yeah, I don't understand that either. To our questioner.
So we can't put the Chiefs aside yet without taking a quick peek to what's coming Sunday night against the Bills. AFC title game, if we remember correctly, they did better against the run, but Mahomes really torched them. Buffalo's defense looks even a little bit better.
Way better.
What should they do different this time around?
Like you're talking about Buffalo's D?
Buffalo's D against Mahomes.
Well, Buffalo's D is a different animal this year. They really are. Everybody on their defensive line's playing well. Ed Oliver's playing well. Star Lutulele is kicking butt inside. You know, Harrison Phillips, the kid 66, who's damn white defensive tackle. He's an SOB in there in the middle. You know, of course, Rousseau being big on the edge gives them power in the run game. They got 2 really awesome middle linebackers in Edmonds and Milano. They got 2 awesome safeties when they're healthy. Poyer didn't play last week. I don't know what his status will be.
Kansas City's O-line and run game are better now than they were, though.
And that's where it's like, even though Buffalo's playing better football than Kansas City, and there's no doubt about that, because Kansas City's defense sucks. S-U-C-K-S. Sucks. I don't know if they could stop Greenwich High School right now.
Right down the street. Yeah.
Right down the street. And but what I would say is, with Buffalo, where I do get worried about is their corners. I don't think they have great cover corners. I know they have Tre'Davious White, and he's a good player. I don't think he's the star that everybody makes him out to be.
Picked the wrong week to have bad cover corners.
Exactly right. So if Kansas City can stay, patient with the run again, which they did in their regular season matchup too last year, it's going to force Buffalo, I think, into a little bit of a bind. It forces Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott to not be able to play all their awesome defenses where they have people at the line of scrimmage, and I've said this a million times, and then they back out, and they just seem to drop exactly where you're throwing the football because they're amazing at breaking down teams and understanding that. And that's where I think the game can be a little bit more equal. But, with that, yeah, Kansas City, I think, even as awesome as Buffalo is, what matches up well with the Buffalo defense. The other side of the ball is where I question. I do. I mean, right. Kansas City's defense, just to hit on that real quick.
Yeah.
They only have one real good player on their football team on the defensive side of the ball, and that's Chris Jones. That's it. I mean, it's the only blue chip player they have. And I don't feel there's no Frank Clark out there. Honey Badger's not the same. There's a reason they don't want to pay Honey Badger top of the market. So that's an issue. They got some new pieces. Right? And it's they don't cover that well. They're not rushing the passer that well. They're messing up run fits. At times, I feel like they try to be a little too complicated, where you see a motion and they're trying to check to a total different defense, and there's 97 guys signaling each other, and they can't all get on the same page. So I don't know what they do to fix. One thing I will say is this, Paulie, just on their defense.
Yeah.
Move Chris Jones back to defensive tackle. Move him back. I was all for the move in theory and thought it was great too. But he's the second best defensive tackle in football. He's not involved as many plays as he used to be now that he's at defensive ends. Teams run away. They run the other side. You're playing in the middle of the defense, they can't run away from you, or they just have to run all the way outside.
Good point. Yeah.
And I think he was more effective as a pass rusher, of course, inside, because he pushes the pocket. He has an unbelievable ability to bat balls. And other than Aaron Donald, he's the most disruptive defensive tackle in football. So, listen, I was all for the idea, and I'm not trying to second guess. I'm just saying I've seen enough now to let's second guess. It's like we took the second best wide receiver in football and moved him to tight end or running back to get more weapons on the field. It's cool. But he was the second best wide receiver in football, and that was a big piece that forced teams to do a lot of shit they didn't want to do.
Right.
And I think they got to go back to that.
With as well as Josh Allen and Buffalo are playing, and your questions defensively in Kansas City.
Right.
Kind of sounds like you might be leaning toward predicting the Bills.
I don't know. This is one I do think Buffalo's the better football team, but as you know, it's a matchup league, and I do think Kansas City poses some matchups. And typical Kansas City, they'll be on their A game this week because they're going to be a little scared. And Mahomes and company are going to know that, oh shit, it's Josh Allen and our defense sucks, so we're going to have to play awesome. And that's where I think the intrigue of the game is awesome, because it's hard to tell how it'll go when you got a freak show like Mahomes and Hill at on the offensive side of the ball.
Bills Chiefs, great one Sunday night in the AFC. Yeah. There was a good one Sunday afternoon in the AFC. Kind of flew under the radar a little bit. So much other things, or many other big games going on. Ravens Broncos in Denver, and Baltimore wins 23-7. And to me, most noteworthy here, Chris, the Denver defense. Highly touted. Yeah. Really, really good. Right. Strong against the pass. Lamar goes 22 out of 37 for 316. Yeah. No picks.
Yeah. Just shows you. If you want to overplay the run, it's not going to be like Tom Brady and the Patriots, but Lamar Jackson and company can tear you up in the pass game. And Denver kind of overcommitted to stopping the run. They weren't going to let them get beat that way. And again, I'm not amazed by the Ravens pass offense, but if you put too many eggs into the we're going to stop the run game basket, Lamar's throwing the football too well right now to just think you're going to be able to win the football game that way and just totally overextend yourself to run the ball. Lamar's motion is very natural, as we've talked about. The one thing Lamar Jackson has gotten rid of is he let his feet used to get real close together. If you watch Lamar now, he really keeps a base about him all the time. And I think that's improved his accuracy, ability to get the ball out of his hands real quick and just snap it out of there. And I think that's the thing that jumped out to me. But, man, made some big plays in the pass game, really, and helped put away the Denver Broncos.
Let's take a good look at one of the plays there. 7-7 tie, about halfway through the second. And if you've seen the highlight, Hollywood Brown ends up by himself in the secondary. One of these plays where if you saw it, you're like, how the heck did that happen?
Yeah, well, and I mean, again, it's 2nd and 10. It's empty formation. There's still 6-7 guys around the line of scrimmage for the Denver Broncos because they're not sure. Wait, Latavius Murray's, in the slot here to the left, so he could motion back to the backfield, right?
They actually have 8 in the box.
8 in the box. Yeah, you're right. It's 8 in the box. So you got that, and then it's they're worried about Lamar Jackson keeping the ball, so they're still worried about defending the run. It's 2nd and 10. Baltimore can do whatever they want. So, I'm going to stand up here now, Kristen, and very similar play to what we just saw with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs against the Eagles. I can't remember. I think Mark Andrews runs a little in cut here. All right. I'm not even sure what we get down here. I'm not even sure, so I'm not going to lie to you. I can't even remember. I got too many plays going through my head. The point is this right here. Hollywood Brown, free release, onto a safety, all the way across the field. Lamar in the pocket, going to launch this thing 60 yards, 63 yards in the air. And, man, if they can continue to find little ways to dial up big pass plays every week in the pass game, they're going to be tough to handle. And listen, I don't know if Lamar was on this originally. Like, he should be looking at post all the way.
Is there a safety back?
There's a safety over here.
Okay.
Yes, there is. And I think, it's Kareem Jackson, who's a hell of a football player. But I think he's thinking, like, wait, they don't do this that much. Like, I'm not expecting Hollywood Brown to come all the way over the top of me and, be gone. And you could see there's Kareem Jackson going, oh, crap, he's gone, right? So let's see. I can't remember this route on the bottom, but, there you see Mark Andrews. He is running like the in cut, like we talked about. He's going to be right there, right? You're going to see that.
Something very similar to the one we saw in Kansas City.
It's
you brought
very
that up.
similar.
And the problem for the defense is the same. You have a safety that by formation, Chris, ought to be there and prevent this, but gets caught kind of, whether he was told to or he did it on his own, got caught looking in the backfield, sneaking up, and then boom, someone's 10 yards behind him.
100%. I think he gets caught up in Sammy Watkins running the deep curl route here a little bit and watches that, and I don't think he expects anything to come across his face or behind him from the other side. So they play it, and Lamar buys time. And like I said, I think his eyes are in the wrong spot to begin with. I think he hangs on Mark Andrews too long, but either way, he gets off of it. And maybe that was his plan. He might have been looking him off directly to get that left safety to kind of just sit down and think like, oh, wait, his eyes are way over to the right. He's not thinking deep post or deep middle. He could be. Lamar has definitely polished enough to be having those type of thoughts and do that to a defense. But unbelievable throw, great catch by Hollywood. I mean, come on. Hollywood.
There we go, all 22
Yeah,
there.
here we go. Hollywood, he dropped some passes last week. This was way tougher than the passes he dropped against Detroit, but certainly makes us. And yeah, you see here, it's there. Let's see, and it kind of started late here, but I think what I'm more impressed with right here is like Kareem Jackson is 25 yards deep.
He actually didn't come up like I thought.
He didn't come up as much as you think.
He's backpedaling.
He's just not thinking like, wait, they're not going to run the 60-yard post behind me.
Yeah.
And like this is where, like, to me, just natural feel. He has more of this than people want to give him credit for.
Let's see what Jackson does here now. So he just clearly, just like you thought, he's like, I've backed up enough. Lamar's not going to throw it over my head.
Exactly right.
And he just he quit a little bit too early.
He just quit a little too early, flat-footed for a second.
Yeah.
I do think. Let me see if I can frame this right. I do think. If you look right here, I do think Lamar, and it's hard because I did have a back angle on film. I think his eyes are right here. And if we just let's watch Kareem Jackson one more time, all right? And just see if I can pin it the right way. Watch him. Here's Kareem. Just watch here in a second. He's in a flat foot. And I do think that's because of Lamar's eyes. Oh, damn it. Give me a second, everybody. I'm kind of stupid sometimes. It's when you... All right, so let's see if I can get it. Everybody, just try to watch Kareem Jackson. Watch when he flat foots and tell me if you think that's it. I don't know, but that's kind of the sense I got when I watched it back on film. Right there. See how he kind of went, like he did that, and then Lamar came over there and he's like, oh, no, I'm done. It's too late.
He had dropped back. Lamar was 40 yards away from him. I think maybe something internally just said, I've dropped enough. He's not going to throw it over the top of my head.
He's deep in the pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You're not going to launch that. Yeah, so... Cool play to show, nonetheless.
Great throw, great catch.
Yep.
I want to point out with the run game, with this collection of backs, Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, and Devontae Freeman, 23 carries, 74 yards. So not big production, but just enough.
No, exactly.
Enough when Lamar is throwing the ball that way for Baltimore to succeed.
It's like we always talk about. Sometimes attempts are more important than the actual yards.
Yes.
Right? And the fact that they stay patient, they make Vic Fangio and company continue to have to worry about the run. And it wasn't pretty, but typical Baltimore. They just tougher than you. They just hang in there. They know there's a few plays that'll present themselves, and they usually take advantage, and that's how they won the football game.
Are you ready for the Week 5 version of the Lamar question we've dealt with a couple dozen times?
Can Lamar throw the ball still, or should we move him to wide receiver?
Close. At Mills NFL. Has Lamar shown enough to be a pocket passer in the league for years to come?
Yeah, he has. I've already been there. Everybody, anybody listen to me. Again, I don't look at it as a Lamar Jackson problem. Is he perfect in the pocket? Is he Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen? No, he's not. He's never going to be. They're a little more special that way. But, like, if they continue to put weapons around him and expand the system throwing the football, Lamar Jackson can beat you with his right arm. He can. And hopefully, this is another little group of evidence here. He did it last week with some great throws against Detroit. And then like we talked, Hollywood Brown dropped probably 3 passes for 100-something yards. And then here again, wasn't always pretty. I get that. But it was a lot of yards, and he made a lot of plays with his right arm. So, yes, everybody get off his back. And I still don't think it's the greatest pass offense in the world.
No,
as far
which
as
is another thing that we've talked about a lot.
Exactly.
And with the fact that he's either the best or second best running quarterback in the league, if he's just a good pocket passer,
right.
He's an awesome quarterback because you have to consider the rest of it as well.
100%, that's it, right.
All right, let's go to the NFC North. Bears 24, Lions 14. And just like you bundled the Tyreek Hill Kansas City offense from last week to this week and what they did, I think when you consider the Bears win, you also have to remember last week. That was, at age 50, I think that was the worst offensive performance I've seen. 47 total yards the Bears get in that loss to Cleveland.
Yeah, that was shit.
So you keep that in mind and look at what they did this week, 24 points, and Fields was much better,
right?
A whole lot better. So I think the improvement here from Cleveland to what they did at home against Detroit is the theme.
It's the theme, and they gave him a chance to be successful. That's where I argued in the Cleveland game. Like, okay, yeah, he didn't pull the trigger on a few throws I'd like him to throw, but like the game plan itself never lent it to Justin Fields ever being successful.
Breaking news, I'm just told by Pete he's starting. Yeah.
No shit, he's starting. No shit.
It's amazing he didn't say it after the game.
Come on. Right? What are they doing in Chicago? Just go with it. He's the best quarterback they got, and I know it's not perfect.
And you can tell there's an energy. There's this non-tangible part the team feeds off of.
100%. I think all of it. So here's the thing that jumped out to me, just right off base, and we can go to questions and we'll break down plays. He got underneath the center. They ran the football. That's the first thing. Like, the Chicago Bears should play the Cleveland Browns offense, run the ball, bootlegs, play action passes, and then sprinkle in a few Lamar Jackson run plays, right? And they will be a handful. You'll go, the formula is not complicated, but damn, the formula they have really makes you defend a lot, the whole field. We got to worry about the line of scrimmage and being dominated there. And then within that, the Bears have receivers that can beat one-on-one coverage.
Clearly.
They do.
Yeah.
And they traded for Akeem Grant with the Dolphins this week, which I think would be part of this Lamar Jackson speed sweep. We're going to do all this stuff behind the line of scrimmage. I'm hoping that's why they made that move. But, yeah, so that was the big thing. 11 completions for 209 yards.
That's 19 yards of completion.
That says something right there.
Big time, yes.
That's because they ran the ball, and almost other than 2 throws, every other throw was a play-action pass. So, yeah, they compromised the defense. They made them force them to get down there. And here's the other thing. I'm sick of hearing about the Bears' offensive line is shit, all right? I am. Now, the Bears' offensive line is shit when you try to throw the ball 40 times a game in that offense. But, like, when you break down center, Sam Mustipher, good player. We saw him at Notre Dame. Left guard, Cody Whitehair, good player. James Daniel, right guard from Iowa, good player. Right tackle, Jermaine Ifedi, good player. They can move people in the run game. They can. Jason Peters, a left tackle. Okay, we know he's an aging whatever. He's an aging borderline Hall of Famer guy that's not, he's not his best anymore. Maybe the weak link. I get that. But they should be able to run the ball if they commit to it. And I think that's where it started. And then play action pass gets Justin Fields away from the line of scrimmage, which is going to make him a dangerous scrambler. And play action pass, and a lot of throws outside the numbers, like I talked about with the 49ers, where, again, don't make them read it and throw balls into tight windows over the middle sometimes. When you run the ball, it's one-on-one outside, and he's a very good down-the-field thrower. To me, that's where he's at his best. And anybody during the draft breakdown, I used to say this, he's at his best throwing the ball down the field. Where I questioned him was 5- and 10-yard throws into tight windows and being really ultra accurate that way. And, you do this way, you can build some confidence and then start to dabble into that type of stuff. And I liked what I saw from the Bears and Matt Nagy in the offensive attack.
So I want to give a nod to Jordan Ingram, who asked a question on Twitter. What did Bill Lazor do calling plays differently than what we saw last week with Matt Nagy?
Yeah.
And I think you just answered the question.
Hopefully I just answered it. That's
answered it pretty well.
He tied plays together. There was a real plan of attack. and it fit what Justin Fields does best. And that, to me, gave them a fighting chance on the offensive side of the ball.
Speaking of tying plays together, Chris, let's take a look at back-to-back plays early in the third quarter. Start with the ground game, and then they'll follow it up with the passing game.
Like, see, this is just an example of, like, what I'd like to see them continue to do. Now, this is Montgomery playing Wildcat quarterback. But this was my point of, like, I'd like to see Justin Fields doing some of this. You make people defend him running the football with them the way they run the football. And now his ability, like we've seen, to throw the ball down the field a little bit, they'll be dangerous. They really will. And I know Montgomery's hurt, but, like, Damian Williams I know he's a little banged up too. He's been playing really good. The rookie they got from Virginia Tech, he's a pretty good little player too. So the run game should not fall off this week by any stretch of the imagination. But I hate when this thing does that. But this is what I'm talking about with with Lamar Jackson run game stuff. And this is what I want to see more from them, to me. And I want to see it with Justin Fields, because Justin Fields is faster than Jordan Montgomery. And it'd be dangerous, right? But, like, they give you a bastard look here. Backside, double pulling lineman, and you're thinking, wait, Montgomery's going to delay and go right in there and smash it in there. That's going to be tough to defend, And Detroit, these guys have seen football. You see backside pulling guards, you start to go, well, damn, they're going to run on the front side. We're going to be in trouble. So people start to fast flow and get over there, right? So what do? He gives it to Mooney out the back door. I mean, but the point is, when you run the ball and start to run it and commit to it and be successful, and now you do things like this.
You don't need your tailback to do it either with Justin Fields in the game.
Exactly right. I don't know why they did this with just the running back, because they ran about 2 or 3 other plays out of this formation. Yeah. And maybe they're just trying to save Justin Fields at this point, and he's a rookie, and they want him to get used to football. But, I just think if you sprinkle in that little aspect of your offense with Justin Fields at quarterback, and then let's go to the next play, Pete and Kristen, and then you sprinkle in, hey, we're going to run, guard pull in the running game, and we're going to run inside, outside zone. They got 2 or 3 tight ends that are pretty damn good and can block people. I mean, Cole Kmet's a beast running in the run game.
Yeah.
They can really force your hand here. And this is, to me, just kind of, again, this is not like the sexiest play of the day, but it just exemplifies, again, run game, fitting your quarterback with the proper scheme, right? And what we're going to get here is just like, it's weak side ISO, basically. It's weak side ISO with the backs, and the linemen are in total pass protection slide mode, right? But it's tight end coming up here, Montgomery coming up here. This front seven for Detroit's already seen this a few times, so they're going, oh, shit, here they come again. Let's, buck up Bart and take on the run game. But instead here, Fields they're going to have a receiver out here who's going to run like a go route, a slot receiver. And then Allen Robinson's going to come inside behind him. And look, I mean, you see all the space here. I mean, there's a ton of space because they've been running the ball. They were committed to it. Let me let it play. See, there goes the post. And then look at Allen Robinson coming right behind it.
That's beautiful. I mean,
Beautiful.
that is a perfect 20-yard deep over, 44. The linebacker couldn't get back there because he was, for a second, concerned about the run.
Exactly right.
Safety has to run with that go route in front of him.
Right. Here's the other linebacker.
It's textbook.
He came up to stop the fullback on the ISO, or the tight end who was playing fullback. And to me, the point is, you create a pocket for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got space where, again.
Look at how much space.
I mean, right. If he'd kept the ball and just, maybe he didn't see things clearly, damn, he's going to be in here and he's going to be able to run and do that. That's an aspect that I think people don't think of sometimes with the running quarterback. And then more importantly, just this space to throw the football. And he's been real controlled and smooth throwing the football. He doesn't try to overthrow it. He's been throwing really nice spirals, and because of that, of course, he had his best day as an NFL pro so far. And I just hope they stick with that, because with that defense and that, they'll be a pain in the butt.
I think he hit a go route on the next play as well. That was a really pretty ball down the sideline as well.
Because they're playing now. They're worried about the run again. They're playing man-to-man. And Mooney can run by anybody.
He's pretty
so
good.
You put him one-on-one, and then Fields, like I said, Fields' mechanics change as he throws the ball down the field. His mechanics are more proper when he throws the ball down the field than when he throws a 5-yard slant or a 10-yard in cut over the middle. But, man, good job by Justin Fields. That was really a lot of fun to watch. I hope he keeps kicking ass.
So now he's going to get his chance starting against the Raiders.
Yeah.
What can they do to help him stay on this right track?
Raiders are beat up on defense. Corners aren't. We had Arnett get hurt in the game the other night. Trayvon Mullins hurt.
It's trouble. Mooney and Robinson, 24 yards per catch last week.
Yeah, that's trouble. And then not a lot of big people on the Raiders' defensive line. You saw the Raiders get pushed around by the Chargers the other night. So I think with that aspect right there, that's going to be dangerous. Where's that game at? Is it in Chicago?
This says at Raiders, Pete. Is that
Raiders?
correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But that should be interesting, and I would be shocked if that's not a close football game. Would be shocked. Really would be.
All right.
Don't know who I'm going to pick yet. I got to think about that one. Yeah.
It's only Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday?
I have to start getting my head wrapped around these things.
Because Florio's going to be waiting for you.
I do the podcast
tomorrow. Or Friday?
Yes, tomorrow. So I literally every week, I'm so into last week, and I'm like, watching film. And Pete comes into my office. Pete Dimalitolitis.
Yeah.
And we start talking about this pod, and he's like, all right, so let's look forward. And I'm always like, wait, who's playing this week? I don't know anybody. I don't know any of the matchups yet, other than our own Sunday night Kansas City, Buffalo game. So I got to start thinking about next week a little bit more as this day goes on.
Interesting dynamic inside the building here at NBC Sports today, because on one, you got so many Yankees fans like yourself.
Yes,
sorry for what happened last night. So
you, Paul.
A little bit. I grew up a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
Had to suffer through all those for all those years. I don't feel too bad for any Yankees fan. But you have that feeling. But you also have the Giants and the Jets winning for the first time over the weekend. So there's reasons to be up and reasons to be down.
Well,
from
there's
the fan
definitely reasons to be
here.
down. There's a lot of Red Sox fans in this building, too.
And
our boss is from Boston.
I know.
If you're like from Boston, he's like, hired. You can work here at NBC. Where you don't know anything about TV? Doesn't matter. You're a Red Sox fan, a Patriots fan? Come on.
But he's real shy about letting his Boston sports fan
those
come
Boston
through.
sports fans. They're real shy.
You'd never know.
They're every bit as obnoxious as the New York sports fans.
Let's begin with some good news for the Jets.
Yeah.
Jets win. Woo, woo, woo. Zach Wilson making some pretty big-time throws in the second half. 27-24 over Tennessee in overtime.
Jets, I couldn't be more proud of the Jets, I think, just in the fact of, I know Robert Saleh and from his days with Shanahan, and, I just think he's a really good football coach and has a great way of communicating, and his energy rubs off on the team. First off, their defense plays good every week. Every week. And there's no Marcus May, no LaMarcus Joyner, no Jared Davis, no Carl Lawson. What would that defense look like if they had those four guys right there? That'd be scary, right? So I look at that, how they compete there. Offensive side of the ball, doing a lot of really good things. And this is where I want to get into people a little bit about context does matter when we talk about these quarterbacks. First off, I know Zach Wilson's been, a little all over the place. I get that. I've stayed firm and I like his look, as you know. And out of all the quarterbacks, nobody's being asked to affect the game or carry the offense out of all the rookie quarterbacks more than Zach Wilson. Nobody. The degree of difficulty of throws he's being asked to make on a play-by-play basis is way greater than anybody else in football. Now, maybe he doesn't have all the plays that Mac Jones is running up in New England, but, they're asking Mac Jones to just – hey, 5 yards here, 6 yards here. Our system's great, and just execute
He threw 90% of his balls. He played great. But in a little box in the middle of the field.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
The Jets, you turn them on any week, they're going, we need the 103 fastball, paint the corners against the best teams and best batters in baseball, whatever. I'm just trying to give them an analogy.
Which one of those two you think is more being the rookie year will be better for which quarterback if they keep executing those kind of offenses?
Well, Zach Wilson to me still is the greatest arm talent of all these guys and the greatest ability to, within the pocket, make the jaw-dropping, oh my gosh, look at that laser throw. Where he changed this week is he stopped trying to be Johnny Pocket passer. That's the one thing he had missed the first few weeks, where you're just going, I know they're telling you to go through the reads and stand in there. You're trying to please Mike LaFleur and look, I can go through the reads and be a quarterback. But man, we drafted you at 2 because you're a baller and you make plays when shit's not open.
Right.
And that's what I saw from him this week that I loved. And he got a little confidence, in the second quarter. He hit a deep out to the right and a deep out to the left. And it's it took the pressure off him. And he just threw strikes from there on out, and it was really cool to see.
Let's look at his best play. There were a lot of really good ones, but it was tied at 17 about halfway through the fourth quarter, and he finds Corey Davis. It's just thing of beauty. If you fell in love with his talent in the spring,
right,
this is his best play yet.
No doubt. And he had some really unbelievable plays in this game. And again, this is where I want to – the degree of difficulty a throw they're going to ask him to make here again, even before he waves the guy deep, and we'll show all that. But, they're not running the ball that well. I mean, for them to win, Zach Wilson has to make plays every week, period. And so we'll see where that goes. But let's check this one out because, hey, they're a play-action team. That's what they want to do. And – LaFleur, of course, his brother likes play action. Shanahan, where he coached from, he likes play action. But what he does more towards his brother, because he's got Rodgers, is he throws the ball outside the numbers, like I've talked about with Shanahan, where I wish they would throw the ball outside the numbers more. So here we go. Let's break it down. Oh, man, my hip is annoying. If anybody's wondering why I'm holding the mic as I'm sitting in the chair, I can't bend over all the way. So, all right. Let me go.
I laugh because I empathize, buddy.
Oh, my gosh. It's so annoying. All right. Let me get to this the right way. All right. So, normal play here. Let me just get back a little farther. Normal play here, fake weak side zone. Tight end's going to come over here, right? It's really like off of hey, we like to run the zone cut back, right? We hope to get everybody flowing this way. Linemen come this way. Tight end kicks out this defensive end, and he can find a cutback lane, right? But certainly a staple of this offense, or Shanahan and McVay, all those guys from that coaching tree. And within that, they're going to do – this is let me make sure I got this right. I think this is Keelan Cole. He's going to run like a 20-yard out route. All right, 20-yard out route, Jamison Crowder on a shallow cross, Corey Davis on a deep cross. All right, so here's just, again, an example of going pretty high degree of difficulty to throw. Hey, we'd like you on the run to throw a 20-yard out route, and if he's not open, hit the 20-yard crosser on the run. No big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. And to me, that's where I go, context matters about how they're asking or what they're asking of that player. So let it on play here a little bit, right? That's not me drawing. That's the telecast. That's the last circle. All right, right here. Now, listen, I'm not going to lie. He probably could have put it on this guy. That's his first read, right? It's really 1 to 2 to 3 over here. That's his first read.
Is he running like a 30-yard comeback?
It is. I think they snapped the ball at the 50-yard line.
So 20, okay.
So he's running the 20-yard out route, like I was saying. Yeah, 22-yard out route, right? So again, those little context clues tell you what they think of the player, though.
He's 10 yards. He being Zach, 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
He's 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, running to his right.
Yeah.
And they're going, well, you can do this, no problem, right? So that's where I go, hey, I like the look, and they obviously do, because he's obviously doing these things in practice to give them the confidence to go call it. All right, so now let's get to the cool part, because he made so many really cool plays. All right, so this is what I want to show first off. Here's the point. All right, let me just get back a little. Look at the point. All right, he's pointing. Look at where Corey Davis is. I mean, there's Janoris Jenkins, right? I mean, I think what I'm more impressed by is the kid's got kahunas or guts to just go, wait, I play some football and I can unleash this thing. And I think if you just go, we'll outthrow the coverage here.
Yeah.
And first off, I think the most amazing thing is he does it on, and I'm going to do it this way because I'm a lefty. He doesn't set up and then go boom and really hitch into it. He kind of just stops and goes, huh? Yeah. Like what? That's freaky.
Right before he got hit too.
Right before he got hit.
Yeah.
But it's freaky. He just stops. He doesn't really take a gather power hitch step to let me unleash this. I'm just going to plant my foot in the ground and turn my shoulder and throw it 60 yards in the air.
Yep.
Yeah. So, boom. And, I mean, again, when he unleashes this, he's got him by a step.
Half.
You see Janoris Jenkins there, half a step. You're right. It's half a step. But he throws an absolute dime.
Perfect.
I mean, perfect. Without really gathering a huge part of the football game. Again, what I want everybody to look at is just, here. Well, let's just focus on how he kind of gets back into this position, because I think that's really cool. And again, this is a very short list of people who could do that right there.
Yeah.
It's a very short list. That's Mahomes, it's Allen, it's Rodgers. I'm not even sure Russell Wilson can do it to that extent. And I think the world of Russell Wilson, but it's that special to be able to just get it up and out like that.
You know what it made me think of, too, aside from just being happy for the kid?
Right.
In the spring, at these pro days and the combine when we're able to see it, people will kind of chuckle and laugh at, Zach Wilson rolled out to his left and was kind of falling down and threw it 65 yards downfield. Who cares? He's never going to do it in the game.
He'll never do that in the game. Yeah, that's always the bullshit talking point.
We have seen examples, I think, from Justin Herbert last year as well. Same kind of thing where you watch, you're like, wait a second, 60 yards downfield, that ball's not falling apart.
No.
He's putting it where he wants, no matter where his balance is going.
Right.
So that didn't make Zach a great quarterback that he could do that when he did his pro day. But it does show up. It does matter.
100%.
When people are raving, people really know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Are raving about what they see in a pro day, because sometimes it shows up on Sunday.
And it changes the game.
Exactly.
And it wins a game. And that's what it did.
Game. Yeah.
And it won the game in this one. I mean, really, this was hard to pick a play this week, because he also had the other play where it's a third down, he scrambles to his right and throws another 60-yard laser down the right sideline.
Yep.
You know, there should have been a touchdown, but Keelan Cole kind of like just wanted to make sure he caught it. You know, the overtime corner route throw he throws to Keelan Cole, where not only recognizing the coverage and knowing that's messed up, but throws a beautiful touch, like 30-yard corner route perfectly. You know, listen, I know Zach Wilson's my favorite of all the quarterbacks and all that, but I'm not going to get off of it yet. To me, it's still the most talented thrower of this draft, and he doesn't seem to waver in his confidence or be a deer in the headlights even through the struggles, and I respect that about him, especially here in New York.
Jets fans are apprehensive to get too confident, so they're probably hedging their bets a little bit, but they play the Falcons in London this weekend.
Right.
2 in a row could be coming, right?
It could be. I mean, they can beat the Falcons 100%. There's no doubt. With the way their defense is playing, yes. Not a great pass rush in Atlanta. You know, of course, the Jets are still learning how to play ball and do all that, but that's another one. I don't know who I'm going to pick, but I probably favor the Jets a little bit in this matchup. The only thing is hey, they're putting a lot on this kid. They're putting a lot on him. They're asking him to make plays to win the game, because it's the only way they can right now. They're not quite good. Pete asked me, he goes, why?
Yeah.
Because they're not quite good enough to be able to say, we're just going to stay consistent with the run. Our defense is good, but we're not creating turnovers and going to win the game with our defense yet.
Do you think they're doing him a disservice long term by expecting so much right now?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they're going crazy. The one thing I'll say is, even when they're not running it great, they keep running it. They don't go, hey, let's just drop them back and let them get killed, like we saw Joe Burrow last year.
Yeah.
So I do think they're very aware of what they're doing that way. But I also think they're going, damn, this is one of a little bit like you hear me say with the Bears, this is one of the blue chip things we got of our offense, is this guy's ability to make like game-changing throws. So we don't want to abandon that just for like, oh, we're going to cuddle him and he might lose his confidence. I think they know the kid's not, I think they know he's confident and
Clearly.
he can do this. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
With the way they're calling the games, and like you said, his confidence, just not knowing him at all, but just the way he's carrying himself out there.
Yeah.
From the start of the game to the end, it's pretty impressive.
Yep.
So as well as Zach Wilson played, I don't even know if you can say he was the best New York quarterback this weekend, though.
Probably not.
Giants beating the Saints in overtime. How about this? Daniel Jones, 28 out of 40 for 402.
402.
A couple of touchdowns.
And, let me just say, a lot of just great throws. It wasn't, good game plan design plays. But, again, I think a game plan where they asked him to make a lot of high – Jason Garrett got people open. I'm not even trying to say that. I'm just more trying to say they high degree difficulty of throws. It wasn't like he was throwing 6-yard slants over the middle. It was 20-yard out route, 15-yard comeback, 50-yard post, go route up the sideline, switch release wheel route up the sideline, 30-yard gain. So, again, that to me matters. And it also obviously shows they think he can do it and be Danny Dimes on a consistent basis. So that was really impressive. It
How
really
badly
was.
did he need that kind of performance, you think?
I just think the whole team did. I mean, everybody in New York was so on the Giants here last week. I mean, it was just, they were getting killed for blowing that loss against Atlanta. So I think that was big for him, Joe Judge, everybody take the pressure off a little bit. Really awesome game. Here's the thing that I'll just say that I don't understand a little bit about the game, right? And it's not Giants related. This is Saints related. And I last week said I thought the Giants could keep this game close and that they matched up really well with the Saints. I picked the Saints to win, I think, 20-17. But what I didn't understand about the game watching it back was New Orleans' defensive approach was very aggressive. Like they were playing like the 93 Cowboys running the football. But you're going like...
Aren't they normally pretty aggressive?
They're pretty aggressive, but like can be smart aggressive. Where it was so many single safety looks. And like they were trying to stop Saquon Barkley in the run game. And I'm like, they haven't run the ball on f***ing anybody. What are you selling out to stop it for? Like, show me they can move your awesome defensive front first before you start committing people and playing that aggressive there. Yeah. I did not understand that approach by them.
And the pass to run was 3-1 for the Giants anyway.
Exactly right. They realized they couldn't run the ball. You know, early on in the game, it's kind of the same thing with the Giants. They got to Daniel Jones. They were around him a lot. It wasn't pretty on the offensive side of the ball. But like I'll go to a phrase my dad always says, how many times can you rush the passer? And they just kept dropping back, and slowly they kind of wore the Saints front out, and they couldn't quite get there. And here's the other thing that's just different about the Giants right now. They got some people that you want to play man-to-man and one-on-one or single safety.
Yeah.
You better check your ass at the door because Kadarius Toney looks like he's coming alive. Galladay's for real. John Ross, you
playing well.
Yeah, I mean, John Ross, take your chances. You want to bump and run him too many times, see how that works out for you.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even have Darius Slayton last week, right? So, you know, from that aspect, that's where I just didn't understand the Saints' approach. I really didn't. That was kind of confusing to me.
To pay off what you said about Galladay and Toney, I mean, back up a few months, everybody was saying they have to go out and spend money on a receiver in free agency.
Yeah.
They got Galladay. They have to get one early.
Right.
They got Toney.
Right.
12 catches, $194. It's only one game, but if you're really into how a team is put together and what they're looking to get or what they knew they had to have, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah, 100%.
The play we're going to tee up here now, fourth quarter, they're trailing 21-10.
I know.
So the numbers are great anyway for Jones, but when you consider they came back in that fourth quarter down double digits, this is fourth quarter, a little over 7 minutes left, and the Giants with the ball.
And like why? Why? I'm going to go back to why are we playing like
straight man cover zero?
Just well, there's a single safety deep. There is a single safety deep. He's way back there. Yep. But like, but why? I mean, it's 21-10. Make them nickel and dime you and take 4 minutes off the clock if they want to go down and score a touchdown. Like
you're up 11.
You're up 11. Right? That's what I'm talking about. And your team is probably better. So why take those chances? So it's a double whammy here, and then we're going to get to the top of the screen with Marshon Lattimore, where I'm going to go, why is he taking this chance on top of this? So it's like, why Dennis Allen play this defense? Why Marshon Lattimore play the coverage like this? And this is, again, I think this is it's a cover 3 look, right? It's like a 3-match look, I'm pretty sure. Because Lattimore, you know, man-to-man on Barkley, no, that's not going to happen. So, but they're playing cover 3. It's single safety regardless. And simple play here, and the Giants do this a lot, where they get the slot receiver up top here, and he's got an option route where he can sit or break out, and maybe some weeks even break in, right? And they like to throw this a lot. So that's what Marshon Lattimore is thinking. He's going, wait, I'm film all week. You know, I see them do this a handful of times every game. And this is Saquon Barkley out here. They're not going to really throw to Saquon on a real route, right? He's kind of playing that percentage. And that's where I get back to this guy, because this is an awesome play. Like, there's nothing about pre-snap right here that says, like, this is a Saquon play. Saquon's just clearing it out.
That's all
so
he's
they
doing,
can do this and get 5 yards and be in 2nd and 5, right? But as we see here, as we'll see, Daniel stares it down over there, and you see Marshon Lattimore flat-foots it for a second. He shouldn't be doing that. He should be running back. You know, you give this up here. You let these guys pursue and make the tackle and give up the 5-yard gain. You do. That's just bottom line, basic principles of this defense. He takes a little chance peeking there. You know, and it looks like Danny really stared him down hard. And, of course, he sees the other thing that he sees is he sees the quick drop. It's just a one step, right? One step, like, now
that's
get
where he's
settled.
Going. He's not just looking off. He's going to the tight end.
He's going to the tight end. Yeah. But he has enough vision and he's played enough now to go, wait, that corner shouldn't be sitting there like that. He shouldn't be sitting like that, flat-footed here, reading me like that. And once he sees that, boom, right over. And, man, Saquon, I'm not going to say he's got all 4 rocket boosters up his ass firing up, but 3.5 of them are the way he ran this game.
At least 3.
He's got him going. Yeah. And that was really cool to see. And just, again, it was they won the game because of Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Period.
It was a great read.
And I hope people continue to see that because, I know we're in the era of you lose, it's the quarterback's fault. And I want to go, no. Daniel Jones is one of the best players in the Giants.
Yeah.
Can they continue to protect, grow the offense? He's getting better and better. Mm-hmm. He is. And we'll see where it goes. But that was a big-time victory for them on the road.
And one other subtle thing about that touchdown. Yeah. As you just showed, as we saw, I mean, he was going with that 5-yard out route in his mind.
Yes.
And one thing I remember Brian Billick always saying that my summer with the Vikings, set your feet for the hardest throw. You're likely not going to throw the deep out or the push route, but set your feet for the hardest throw. You can always come out and you can fall down in a 5-yard out route.
Exactly right.
So he had his feet, his balance in such a way where, wait a second, I noticed that, boom, I can throw it 40 yards downfield.
It's a great point by you. He played it true to form. Again, it's taught that way. Not to, like you're saying, set up and look at the 5-yard out. Even though most times you're not going to throw to the back, the read is to look at that for a second and set up the throw to it to make the defense make sure they go back and respect it so you can throw the 5-yard out. Right. And, of course, if that's not there, then you start to go across the field with the rest of the reads. But because he stayed true to form, like we talked about with Mahomes and everything, his eyes, his feet were all in the right place, and it ended up to being a one-play 54-yard touchdown pass that got them back in the game and, of course, helped them to win the game ultimately.
I'm sure it's a play that made his offensive coordinator, Jason Garrett, very proud. Thinking about Garrett and the Giants, they play the Cowboys this weekend.
Yeah.
So kind of I guess, Jason's been gone for a little while, but I'm sure that game still means a lot to him. He had his best game last season against Dallas, or a very good one.
Yeah.
Calling the plays.
Right.
What is the Cowboys defense doing differently this year, and how do the Giants attack it?
Yeah, well, the Cowboys defense, like we talked about a little bit
a while ago,
much better. They really are. The personnel fits the scheme. I think that's the first thing you'd go there. Dan Quinn is just not, Seattle cover 3, Seattle cover 3, Seattle cover 3, Seattle cover 3. That's all it was in Atlanta. There is definitely a variety in his defense, and when I watch them on film, I have a hard time figuring out what he's going to call or what they're going to do. So, there's great value in that. Again, I think unless you have one of the most talented defenses in football, we're out of the era of this is what we do on defense and we're just going to play it and execute it. No, there's like 2 or 3 defenses in football that can do that with their talent. Everybody else, you got to give quarterbacks and receivers a bunch of different looks and the linemen different things to think about because you're just not going to give your defensive players enough of an advantage that way. Again, like I'm not like oh my gosh, the Cowboy defense is great, but some creative blitzes. The 2 middle linebackers are athletic. I think they're better at covering than maybe I gave them credit for. And he'll play some man-to-man and do that, and they challenge you that way to where, like we talked about a little bit before, they're going to make a play or try to force the issue a little bit so their offense isn't off the field for too long. I do think the Giants' defense, we've talked about it before, they're big up front, so I do think they can maybe slow down the run game. I don't know if they can match up. It's going to take a special defensive game plan to stop Dallas, as we know. Dallas's offense is awesome. But I would think they can move the ball on Dallas's defense. As much as I say Dallas's defense is better and they cover better than I thought man-to-man, I'm not like, it's lockdown central time. I'm not there yet. And I think if he continues Danny Dimes to throw the ball that way with those weapons, they're going to be a pain in the ass. And I would think they could keep that game close. I'm not going to say I'm going to pick them to win, but they're going to keep it close.
Giants-Cowboys, one of the best ones coming up this weekend. The best game Saturday as we wrap it up. You know what's coming up in Iowa City, right? It's number 4 against number 3.
Oh, is it Penn State, Iowa this weekend?
Iowa.
I couldn't even – I was having a conversation today going – I don't even know who the number 3 team in football is. I feel like everybody talks about it's just Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama. So I was literally going, wait, what is the top 5? I couldn't, and I'm loosely a college football fan at this point of the year.
I think Cincinnati's 5. I just saw them this weekend. I mean, that quarterback is
he looked
nice.
pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's good.
I know. So I'll be tuned in though. What time is that game? What time's kickoff?
I think it's like a time you wouldn't think of. It's like a mid to late afternoon. No, it's like a 3 or 4 o'clock kick.
Okay, I like that. I'll be settled in by that time and ready to watch the ball.
You and Florio should pick it. I know, you know, he respects Pennsylvania football. He's from right there.
Right.
Yeah. You would pick the Hawkeyes from me.
What's your assessment on the matchup?
I think Iowa's going to win by double digits.
Do you? Well, you had no choice but to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
17-7.
17-7?
Maybe 15-5.
So
Iowa
their
comes
defense
up with
is that?
They're really, really good.
Wow, that's cool.
Really good.
All right, I'm glad to see that. I like that kind of football.
Take the under.
Yeah.
And I will cover.
Okay. All right, you heard it here first.
Yep.
Paulie the Shark said, take the under.
Maybe a
Iowa
new segment.
cover.
Maybe a new segment. Come on, Hawkeyes. More. Stephon Gilmore.
Oh, I was right. Yes.
Stephon Gilmore traded from New England to who?
The Carolina Panthers.
Oh, wow.
Yep. That was one of the first teams I brought up today on PFT because during the show today, we came out with it was breaking news like halfway, like they're going to release Stephon Gilmore. Obviously, they didn't get to the releasing point. They didn't file all the paperwork because once teams heard, they were like, wait, don't send that into the league yet. We'll trade for him.
What'd they get for him, Pete? Do we know?
Yeah, I would like to know that too. But big-time move by them.
Yeah.
You know, they lost J.C. Horn.
I was going to say, Carolina a little
traded
banged
for
up
C.J.
at the spot.
Henderson, and now you got this guy coming to town, you know, for not a ton of money. I mean, big time. And if you want to play Dallas or beat Tampa or beat the Rams and you get in the playoffs, you better have some cover corners in the NFC.
Yeah.
NFC's better and more talented than I thought it was going to be. I thought the AFC was going to be like the Kings.
Yeah.
AFC's got a lot of flash, but maybe not all the – a lot of sizzle, but not enough steak as compared to the NFC, and that's where it's a little different.
Pete, did you just say a 2023 6th-round pick? That seems like not a lot.
That's crazy.
2023
I'm a little
for
surprised by that. Yeah, but I would think the teams that wanted him probably were in a little bit of a cap issue, and Carolina, David Tepper's pockets seem to run through the ground and into the core of the earth. They're never ending, so I don't think he cares about money.
If you're a backup corner for Carolina, you're looking around being like, what do they think of me? They traded for C.J. Henderson. They traded for Gilmore.
And then they got A.J. Bouye, and then, you know, Jackson, Dante Jackson. I mean, it's not a bad group altogether.
Yeah.
But they're going for it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're only – I thought maybe Buffalo would try to make a play for him because, I was just saying, I think they need the cover corner. You know, I would like to see Buffalo make one move before the trade deadline's over, just to bring that up real quick. Yeah, at corner or even I think they need another receiver. I think they need – like, you're in it. You're in the Super Bowl window. You can win it this year.
Yeah.
I do think they need one more player to put them over the edge. So we'll see where that goes. But, man, that's a big-time move by the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way to go.
Yeah, way to go. All right.
There's a show. That's a show.
That's a show. That's it. It's not a show until you say that.
I know.
That is your saying. You have to do that.
Take care of yourself.
I will. I'm going to get therapy here in a minute.
Okay.
All right. I'm 41 going on 75 with my right hip here. But hope everybody enjoyed that. That was the What the Happened podcast. Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. The only way is through. That's right. And Paulie, you the man. Thanks for driving the ship as always.
You got it.
Peace out. Check us out tomorrow. Me and Florio, PFT PM, Chris Sims Unbuttoned collaboration. Picks podcast. Wasn't my best week last week. Wasn't. I touted my own horn, tooted my own horn.
You did a little bit.
And it didn't. And karma was like, hey, fuck you, Chris. Come back down to earth. All right. You're just like the rest of us gambling. All right. So tune into that. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.
How bad were you?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.